Hey everyone, this is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. Today's podcast is extra special to me because we're going to be talking to someone that I really look up to in the real estate business. His name is Larry Kendall. Now, that name may ring a bell, but Larry is the founder of Ninja Selling. He is based out in Colorado, and he is also one of the founding members of the Group Inc., which is a highly respected brokerage in northern Colorado. In 2014, I had the opportunity to actually go out to Colorado and take the Ninja installation course with Larry. And it was life-altering, not only for my business, but also for the way that I lived my life in general. You can think of Ninja Selling as almost a business/philosophy course that teaches you not only to enhance your business, but to also enhance your life as well. So I hope you like what you hear with Larry in this interview. We're going to be talking and touching upon some of the basic concepts of Ninja. And we also recorded a video of what's called the Ninja 9, which is a core principle of Ninja Selling. We're going to have that video available to you as well. So I'm happy and excited to share with you a lot of content on Ninja Selling. But for now, let's get to the interview with the Ninja Master himself, Larry Kendall. All right, excellent. So, we talk about Ninja a lot. So the first thing that I think agents want to hear who have not been familiar with Ninja Selling is the term Ninja, right? And
Okay.
where it comes from.
Sure.
And the story behind it is pretty fascinating. And I know it's from one of your agents, Jimmy D, who was the original Ninja. So can you talk about Jimmy D and what he did in his business and why he was called the Ninja?
You bet. Jim Dunlap, better known as Jimmy D, was this young man in our company, one of the youngest actually in our company, is in his 20s, and just had amazing results. Had the highest income per hour by far of anybody in our company, had great customer satisfaction, great referrals, great business, had a life, was married, had two little boys, taught handicap skiing in the winter at Winter Park, he was a professional bike racer in the summer, had this amazing lifestyle, was making amazing income, and it just seemed like he was doing it effortlessly, wasn't hardly working, and his nickname in the company was the Ninja. Where's the Ninja? He just comes in and has closings. We don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something, and I began to document what he was doing. A lot of what he was doing was the Ninja 9, and very simple to do, and I began to document it. And then in 1994, the Colorado Association of Realtors asked if I would create a sales course, and I said I would, and they said, what are you going to call it? And I said, I'm going to call it Ninja Selling, after Jimmy D, because I think that he's a role model for most of us. Most of us want the high income, but we don't want to work 24/7. We want to also have a life. So the goal of Ninja Selling is to increase your income per hour so that you can have a life.
And that was the philosophy that spoke to me so greatly when, I came to you, is maximizing your time so you still have that life. You still, like Jimmy D, like cycling and found time to do so much in his life with limited time. And I think that's the thing that we all struggle with, is that time blocking. I know one of the things that you have is the Ninja Perfect Week. And I use that in a lot of my business, or at least I try to incorporate that. The second question I had for you, and I think this speaks to Ninja in general, the philosophy behind it, is that there's two fundamental beliefs, and that is the belief of abundance and the belief of scarcity. Can you explain abundance and scarcity and what that means to real estate agents?
You bet. I think that unfortunately, a lot of people are raised with the concept of scarcity, that there's only so much, and I have to scratch and fight for everything. And the world is dog eat dog. It's very competitive. And we believe in Ninja that really the world is set up primarily around abundance. There are episodes where you will be in competition. Obviously, if you're in competition for a listing, somebody's going to get the listing, somebody's not going to get the listing. That's an example of a scarcity situation. But we also say that, in Ninja, you never want to badmouth your competition, because that realtor you're competing with in the morning for that listing may be bringing you an offer that afternoon on your listing, or you may be taking them an offer on yours or on theirs. And in the afternoon, you're working very collaboratively, and it's a situation of abundance. Win-win. Buyer wants to buy, seller wants to sell. Realtors are trying to help put a transaction together. And so we believe that the world is set up primarily around abundance, and there's an abundance of business. And let me give you an example of that. Harris Interactive, in their research, found that the average American knows 4 people who will move this year. So that's 4 potential referrals for us. Simply take your database. Let's say you have 200 households in your database. Multiply that times 4, and you get 800. That's the number of transactions available to you. Is that enough? Can you do those 800 transactions?
I think I could certainly try.
You're not going to get them all. You're not even going to get half of them. You may only get 10% of them. Well, hey, that's 80 transactions. That's more than enough. You're going to lose some along the way. People know on an average 12 realtors. You're not the only game in town. It happens. Don't let it get to you. Don't go into a purple funk over it because somebody bought from somebody else or listed their house with somebody else. There is plenty of business there. Our favorite word in that situation is the word next. Mm-hmm. There's always a next. There's always a next transaction. There's always a next buyer or a next seller. You are swimming in abundance. There is business everywhere.
The first day that I was in Ninja, it was the mindset day, and we talked about mindset. And you hear mindset, that term, a lot in our business. I think, especially nowadays, I hear it other places as well. Obviously a positive attitude and being thankful and grateful for what you have is a big thing. But the thing that I loved about Ninja was the science behind it, right? Yes. And breaking neural pathways and creating new ones. So can you just expound on the science behind mindset and what an important part that those affirmations play per day, getting that kind of negative little voice out of your head and creating new neural pathways to a positive place?
You bet, Jason. What we talk about is the science is that basically in your brain, there are 3 parts. There's your conscious mind, which is what you're using right now to observe this podcast. You're watching the screen, you're listening to our voices and so on. There's also then the non-conscious, which is your programs. This is a part of the brain that is like a recording device, and it switched on while you were still in your mother's body, and it began recording all experiences, all sensations, and it doesn't judge, it just simply records, and it becomes what's known as your program. And then there's a third part of the brain called the creative non-conscious. And this is the little operating system that runs the programs. Sometimes it's that little voice that you hear inside your head. And what their little voice is really a lot of times interpreting is a conversation between your conscious and your non-conscious. Thoughts bubble up from your non-conscious, from your programming. And your non-conscious controls about 80 to 90% of your behavior. So if you want different results in your life, you're going to have to adopt different habits. And in order to do that, you may have to reprogram that non-conscious. And we take you through a process to show you how to do that. One of the best ways to reprogram your non-conscious is with affirmations. And that, again, takes us back to the Ninja 9 and habit number 1. Number 1, getting into gratitude. Gratitude, there's an old saying, nothing new can come into your life until you first give thanks for that which you already have. So you first need to give thanks. Then secondly, you need to program what it is that you want in your life. And in some cases, this requires reprogramming your non-conscious. And we teach you how to do that. And that's the science behind the mindset.
Yeah, it's really made such a difference, in the way that I view things, just philosophically in life. And I always say when agents ask me about Ninja, I always say, it's not just about business. It's really like a business/lifestyle and how you approach life and how you look at things. I know you like to say that people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so we talk about the word flow, or Ninja talks about the word flow all the time. Can you explain the word flow, what that means for your business?
You bet. Well, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, we're not the only game in town. The average American knows 12 realtors. Hmm. And so how do you become the realtor of choice? And there's a very simple system for that. The way you become the realtor of choice is through what we call flow. And flow is simply frequency of interaction, face-to-face, voice-to-voice, through the mail, through the email, through the social media. The more interactions you have with your people, the stronger your relationship with them, and you become what we call the top of the mind realtor. When they think of real estate, they think of you. So it's all about building a flow system. And part of that flow system is your Ninja 9. The Ninja 9 is designed to help support that. So many realtors are not focused on relationships, they're focused on transactions. And they just move from transaction to transaction. Ninjas are focused on the relationship and the referrals that come from, and the repeat business that comes from those relationships. And the way you nurture relationships is through frequency of interaction, whether it's a relationship with your kids or whether it's a relationship with your clients. It happens through what we call flow.
Mm-hmm. I actually want to throw you a little bit of a curveball here at the end. Not too much of a curveball, but I always wonder, because when I'm sitting in the installation, we always refer to books, and I know that you're a big reader and you are a statistics guy. You quote a lot of philosophical things. You quote a lot of statistics. What are you reading currently? What's on your reading list right now for those of us who may want to join you?
Well, that's a great question, Jason. I'm glad you asked that. Can I have my top three favorite books right now?
Absolutely. Any books that you recommend to people is okay. Would be a big help.
These are all very ninja books. The first book would be Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay.
I've read a lot of habits books. I've read a lot of the science behind habits. We just talked about the 9 ninja habits, the Ninja 9, and how important habits are. James Clear brings a different spin or a different science to habits, and I highly recommend that book. One of the things that he brings to it, he says your habits are a function of your identity, how you see yourself. And so this gets back again to programming your non-conscious brain as far as your identity. He gives an example. He does a lot of work with people on smoking. And he says if somebody came up and asked somebody, would you like a cigarette? And they say, no, I'm trying to quit. They ask another person, would you like a cigarette? And they say, no, I'm not a smoker. Both of the difference is the identity. One identifies themselves as a smoker who's trying to quit and not having much success at that. The other one identifies themselves as a non-smoker. And so do you see yourself, did you take a ninja class, or do you see yourself as a ninja? Do you identify, do you want to be a top producer, or do you see yourself as a top producer? So that's an excellent book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Mm-hmm. The second book is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. This game is, this is a very ninja book. And he talks about finite games and infinite games. And a finite game has a beginning and it has an end. An example would be the real estate transaction. Starts at the time of contract, finishes at the time of closing. But within that, in a bigger game, is the infinite game, which is the relationship with that buyer or the relationship with that seller that continues on after the transaction. Very ninja. As I said earlier, ninjas are focused on relationships, not just transactions. The third book is Give or Take by Adam Grant. In the Ninja installation, we encourage you to read a book called The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. It's a wonderful little book. It's core ninja, and it's kind of the art of giving, mm-hmm. but give and take is the science behind giving. Why giving works. Adam Grant is the youngest full professor at the Wharton School of Business. And he was curious about of the three strategies: giving, taking, and what he calls matching, which is you match, give, and take. What is the most successful strategy in business? And what he found was the most successful strategy was giving. He also found the most unsuccessful strategy was giving. Mm-hmm. And so how you give is the key. And I'll let you read the book to discover the difference. Mm-hmm. But those are my three favorites: Atomic Habits, The Infinite Game, and Give and Take.
Yeah, the three fascinating books. I've yet to read the Simon Sinek book, and I'm a big fan of his. He's a very fascinating guy to listen to. Very intelligent and very forward thinking. I'm gonna stop there. I could go on all day long with you, Larry, but I know that you have other things to get to. I just wanted to leave on this note. I was on the Ninja website last night, and going back to Jimmy D. Jimmy D was quoted in one of the videos that you have on your website of saying, "I'm not the only person on the planet that has come to a point in their life that says, I need to be better. I need to feel better. I need to be better to the world. I'm not sure how to do it." And the thing that I found was that Ninja does that. And I really hope that our agents, enjoy this interview as much as I have and take away from it what I hope they will put into practice into their business, starting with the Ninja 9. So thank you so much, Larry. I really, really appreciate your time. And hopefully I will see you soon again in Colorado at some point.
Oh, I'd love to have you come back out, Jason. It's great to see you again. It's been too long. And thank you for doing this podcast for your people. That's a great value add for them. And thank you for inviting me on it. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, that was the interview with Larry Kendall. I hope you enjoyed that. A couple things that I wanted to mention just about ninja selling in general. That interview just scratches the surface of what you learned during the Ninja course and the Ninja installation. So I really hope that if it kind of speaks to you what Larry was saying there, that you'll look further into Ninja selling. I can't tell you how much it's had an effect on my business, starting with the Ninja 9. And again, we will be releasing that video so you can see what Larry has to say about the Ninja 9. Also, one thing we didn't mention there is I wanted to talk about, I didn't have enough time to talk with Larry about this, but when it comes to making phone calls, a lot of agents, hate making phone calls to their sphere of influence or to past clients or future clients. Sometimes it's paralysis by analysis when it comes to making phone calls to your clients. So one thing that Ninja does that makes life simple for you is to focus on what we call Ford questions. And Ford questions is an acronym for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If you focus on one of those four areas with your clients, it makes the conversation easy. It makes the conversation flow much better. You ask them about their family, you ask them about their occupation, you ask about their recreation, or you ask about their dreams. One of those areas. Make it short and concise. And that's how Ninja recommends to follow up with your clients or reach out to your clients to stay in what they call flow or touch with your clients. So again, there's just pearls of wisdom all through Ninja selling. I'm really glad we could have Larry on, and I hope you'll look further into it. Like Larry said, it's a huge value add for your business. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We will be back in a couple weeks again. We're trying to release a new podcast bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to look at our podcast, and if you can, review it on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Please give us a review and a like, and we will talk to you soon and be back with another episode shortly on the Everything Real Estate Podcast.